And we are live! Alrighty, hi everyone, Avery Young here, and welcome back to the Storyteller's Corner, episode 11. Tiger. This is the third and final story in the Jungle Book that make up Mowgli's trilogy. We have gone through part 1, Mowgli's Brothers, where we see Mowgli be adopted into the Seoni wolf pack. And we also went through Kaa's hunting, in which Mowgli escapes the Banderlog with the help of Baloo, Bagheera, and of course the sly python that is Kaa, who is actually quite benevolent for the most part, while still maintaining a sinister undertone. So feel free to ask questions and make some comments. After a little bit of music, I will read the story. So, welcome to those who are interested, but yeah, I will be reading from my copy of the Jungle Book with illustrations, and I'll make sure to show you the illustrations. And what I find interesting about Tiger, I read through it a few days ago, and it turns out it actually has a poem, or rather a song, at the end of the story that Mowgli sings after the climax of the story. I will be reading it as an epic poem, because I don't think I'd be able to sing the song proper because I don't have a melody to go off of. But yeah, so I think it's going to be a very interesting story, and we finally get the trilogy all wrapped up in quite a satisfying and epic conclusion. Now, I know normally with my live streams when I read fairy tales and such, I always try and find a moral. But with Kaa's hunting and Mowgli's brothers, I will leave the moral up to you guys. I'm curious to see what you guys take away from this story, because honestly, I can't find a moral. Though then again, I'm probably not looking hard enough. So yeah, welcome to those who are staying and watching. Don't be shy. Leave some comments or questions. I don't mind answering questions or comments or whatnot before the actual story. Sorry I haven't been present through most of your live streams. I've been busy with work and school, so I didn't have much time. It's okay, Andre. I totally understand. Real life happens, and you know what? If you missed a live stream, that's okay. That's the beauty of these live streams. Once they're done, you can come back and listen to the story as I am able to tell it, because I try and go through the full story, but then you guys make comments during the live stream, and I feel like I need to address them. But I mean, I don't know. I think it's fun, and I'm excited. But yeah, this would once I read to you, Tiger, we will have covered half of the Jungle Book, at least with my copy. Because again, it has 6 stories total, and only 3 of them are connected. These, of course, being the stories that make up Mowgli's trilogy. The remaining 3 stories in here are The White Seal, Rikki Tikki Tavi, and Tumai of the Elephants, which maybe later on down the line I'll read them on this series. Who knows? I do know something for certain. September is here, and right after September is October. So, for those of you who are fond of the October month, well, be prepared, because I have some delightfully spooky, creepy stories to tell on to hear. And of course, a few Halloween-inspired ASMRs as well, so just a heads up. Oh yeah, spooky one! Yes, Andre. I love all the seasons, and I love all the holidays equally, but come on, name one other holiday that lets you dress up in a costume. And let's see. According to my timer, we're at 4 minutes. I think once we get to 5 minutes, then I will, or close to 5 minutes, then I will read the story, which actually, the more I think about it, has some symbolism to another story I plan on reading on here down the line. Though I'm not going to reveal what that other story is, but let's just say I'm saving it for episode 12 of the Storyteller's Corner, and I think people are going to enjoy it. At least I hope they do. But yes. Alrighty. Just got one person here, but you know what? It's fine. Maybe some people might come later on down the road. So, without further ado, this is Tiger Tiger, the third and final part of Mowgli's trilogy. And much like with the first story, Mowgli's Brothers, there's a bit of poetry at the beginning before the story, which that of course I will read to you before. So here it is. Tiger Tiger. What of the hunting, hunter bold? Brother, the watch was long and cold. What of the quarry ye went to kill? Brother, he crops in the jungle still. Where is the power that made your pride? Brother, it ebbs from my flank and side. Where is the haste that ye hurry by? Brother, I go to my cave to die. Now we must go back to the first tale, when Mowgli left the wolf's cave after the fight with the pack at the Council Rock. He went down to the plowed lands where the villagers lived, but he would not stop there because it was too near to the jungle, and he knew he had made at least one bad enemy at the council. So he hurried on, keeping to the rough road that ran down the valley, and followed it at a steady jog trot for nearly 20 miles, till he came to a country that he did not know. The valley opened into a great plain dotted over with rocks and cut up by ravines. At one end stood a little village, and at the other the thick jungle came down in a sweep to the grazing grounds, and stopped there as though it had been cut off with a hoe. A hoe being a farm tool, not a slander, in case you don't know. All over the plain, cattle and buffaloes were grazing, and when the little boys in charge of the herd saw Mowgli, they shouted and ran away, and the yellow pariah dogs that hang about every Indian village barked. Mowgli walked on, for he was feeling hungry, and when he came up to the village gate, he saw the big thorn bush that was drawn up before the gate at twilight pushed to one side. Oh, oops. Almost forgot about the illustrations, but here we see Mowgli leaving the jungle and now going out into the world. And feel free to make comments as I read. I enjoy reading the comments. He said, for he had come across more than one such barricade in his night rambles after things to eat. So men are afraid of the people of the jungle here also. He sat down by the gate, and when a man came out, he stood up, opened his mouth, and pointed down it to show he wanted food. The man stared and ran back up the one street of the village, shouting for the priest, who was a big, fat man dressed in white with a red and yellow mark on his forehead. The priest came to the gate, and with him at least 100 people, who stared and talked and shouted and pointed at Mowgli. On the trail he blazes! Yes. Also, nice El Dorado reference. It makes me happy. They have no manners, these menfolk, said Mowgli to himself. Only the great ape would behave as they do. So he threw back his long hair and frowned at the crowd. What is there to be afraid of? Said the priest. Look at the marks on his arms and legs. They are the bites of wolves. He is but a wolf child run away from the jungle. Of course, in playing together, the cubs had often nipped Mowgli harder than they intended, and there were white scars all over his arms and legs. But he would have been the last person in the world to call these bites, for he knew what real biting meant. Are, are, said 2 or 3 women together, to be bitten by wolves. Poor child. He is a handsome boy. He has eyes like red fire. By my honor, Mesua, he is not unlike your boy that was taken by the tiger. Hey, Chief. Can't stay, just dropping by. Well, hi, Reptile. Nice to see you. Say hi. Let me look, said a woman with heavy copper rings on her wrists and ankles, and she peered at Mowgli under the palm of her hand. Indeed he is not. He is thinner, but he has the very look of my boy. The priest was a clever man, and he knew that Mesua was wife to the richest villager in the place. So he looked up at the sky for a minute and said solemnly, What the jungle has taken, the jungle has restored. Take the boy to your house, my sister, and do not forget to honor the priest who sees so far into the lives of men. By the bull that popped me, said Mowgli to himself. All this talking is like another looking over the pack. Well, if I am a man I must become. The crowd parted as the woman beckoned Mowgli to her hut, where there was a red lacquered bedstead and a great earthen grain chest with curious raised patterns on it. Half a dozen copper cooking pots, an image of a Hindu god in a little alcove, and on the wall a real looking glass, such as they sell at the country fairs. She gave him a long drink of milk and some bread, and then she laid her hand on his head and looked into his eyes, for she thought that perhaps he might be her real son come back from the jungle where the tiger had taken him. And then you have the priest, or the old man, and then you have Mowgli surrounded by people. First time he's ever seen real people because he's been in the jungle. I find that fascinating, and once again, these illustrations are gorgeous. So she said, Nathu, oh Nathu. Mowgli did not show that he knew the name. Don't you remember the day when I gave you your new shoes? She touched his foot, and it was almost as hard as horn. No, she said sorrowfully. Those feet have never worn shoes. But you are very like my Nathu, and you shall be my son. Mowgli was uneasy, because he had never been under a roof before. But as he looked at the thatch, he saw that he could tear it out any time if he wanted to get away, and that the window had no fastenings. What is the good of a man, he said to himself at last, if he does not understand man's talk? Now I am as silly and dumb as a man would be with us in the jungle. I must learn their talk. It was not for fun that he learned while he was with the wolves to imitate the challenge of the bucks in the jungle and the grunts of the little wild pig. So as soon as Messua pronounced a word, Mowgli would imitate it almost perfectly. And before dark, he had learned the names of many things in the hut. There was a problem at bedtime, because Mowgli would not sleep under anything that looked so like a panther trap as that hut. And when they shut the door, he went through the window. Leave him alone, said Messua's husband. Remember, he has probably never slept on a bed. If he has indeed been sent in the place of our son, he will not run away. Mowgli is probably thinking all these people are crazy. I mean, yeah, pretty much. Fair enough. But again, he has been raised in the jungle his whole life. He knows the language of the jungle. He knows the people there. But now that he's banished from the jungle and has to be among humans, it's a culture shock for him, among other things, and so he has to adapt. As my dad likes to say, adapt, improvise, and overcome. So Mowgli stretched himself in some long, clean grass at the edge of the field, but before he had closed his eyes, a soft gray nose poked him under the chin. Whew! Said Gray Brother. He was the eldest of Mother Wolf's cubs. This is a poor reward for following you 20 miles. You smell of wood smoke and cattle, altogether like a man already. Wake, little brother, I bring news. Are all well in the jungle? Said Mowgli, hugging him. All except the wolves that were burned with the red flower. Now listen, Shere Khan has gone away to hunt far off till his coat grows again, for he is badly singed. And when he returns, he swears that he will lay your bones in the Waingunga. Those are there are 2 words to that. I also have made a little promise, but news is always good. I am tired tonight, very tired with new things. Gray Brother, but bring me the news always. You will not forget that you are a wolf? Men will not make you forget? Said Gray Brother anxiously. Never. I will always remember that I love you, and all in our cave. But also I will always remember that I have been cast out of the pack. And that may be cast out of another pack. Men are only men, little brother, and their talk is like the talk of frogs in a pond. When I came down here again... When I come down here again, I will wait for you in the bamboos at the edge of the grazing grounds. For 3 months after that night, Mowgli hardly ever left the village gate. He was so busy learning the ways and customs of men. First, he had to wear a cloth around him, which annoyed him horribly, and then he had to learn about money, which he did not in the least understand, and about plowing, of which he did not see the use. Aw, brotherly love. Exactly. Wholesome familial brotherly love, because not every love has to be sexual in nature. There are various kinds of love. The Greeks had multiple words for it, and storge, I believe, was the term for brotherly love. Or yeah, there were multiple words for love, and when I get the chance, I'll get back to you on that. But yeah, brotherly love, wholesome, much like that of Frodo and Samwise, like a brotherly love. Anywho, plowing. Would you see the use? Okay. Then the little children in the village made him very angry. Luckily, the law of the jungle had taught him to keep his temper, for in the jungle, life and food depend on keeping your temper. But when they made fun of him because he would not play games or fly kites, or because he mispronounced some word, only the knowledge that it was unsportsmanlike to kill little naked cubs kept him from picking them up and breaking them in two. He did not know his own strength in the least. In the village, in the jungle, he knew he was weak compared to the beasts, but in the village, people said that he was as strong as a bull. And Mowgli had not the faintest idea of the difference that caste makes between man and man. When the potter's donkey slipped in the pit, Mowgli hauled it out by the tail and helped to stack the pots for their journey to the market at Kanhiwara. I apologize if I mispronounced that name. That was very shocking too, for the potter is a low caste man and his donkey is worse. When the priest scolded him, Mowgli threatened to put him on the donkey too, and the priest told Messua's husband that Mowgli had better be set to work as soon as possible. And the village headman told Mowgli that he would have to go out with the buffaloes the next day and herd them while they grazed. No one was more pleased than Mowgli, and that night, because he had been appointed, as it were, a servant to the village, he went off to a circle that met every evening on a masonry platform under a great fig tree. It was a village club, and the head man and the watchman and the barber, who knew all the gossip of the village, and old Buldeo, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that, the village hunter, who owned a tower musket, met and smoked. The monkeys sat together in the upper branches, and there was a hole under the platform where a cobra lived. And he had his little platter of milk every night because he was sacred. And the old men sat around the tree and talked, and pulled at the big hookahs, water pipes, till far into the night. There we see Buldeo with his musket, and then we see the Grey Wolf and Mowgli reuniting with some wholesome brotherly love. That is a wholesome hug. We are here for it. Oh yeah, that's what he's called, Grey Brother. I'm sorry, I temporarily forgot. They told wonderful tales of gods and men and ghosts, and Buldeo told even more wonderful ones of the ways of beasts in the jungle, till the eyes of the children sitting outside the circle bulged out of their heads. Most of the tales were about animals, for the jungle was always at their door. The deer and the wild pig grubbed up their crops, and now and again the tiger carried off a man at twilight. Within sight of the village gates, Mowgli, who naturally knew something about what they were talking of, had to cover his face not to show that he was laughing, while Buldeo, the tower musket across his knee, climbed on from one wonderful story to another, and Mowgli's shoulders shook. Buldeo was explaining how the tiger that had carried away Messua's son was a ghost tiger, and his body was inhabited by the ghost of a wicked old moneylender who had died some years ago. And I know that this is true, he said, because Purun Das always limped from the blow that he got in a riot when his account books were burned. And the tiger that I speak of, he limps too, for the tracks of his pads are unequal. True, true, that must be the truth, said the greybeards, nodding together. Are all these tales such cobwebs and moon talk? Said Mowgli. That tiger limps because he was born lame, as everyone knows. To talk the soul of a moneylender and a beast that never had the courage of a jackal is child's talk. Buldeo was speechless with surprise for a moment, and the head man stared. Oh-ho! It is the jungle brat, is it? Said Buldeo. If you are so clever, why not bring his hide to Kanhiwara? For the government has set 100 rupees on his life. Better still, do not talk when your elders speak. Mowgli rose to go. All the evening I have lain here, listening, he called back over his shoulder, and except once or twice, Buldeo has not said one word of truth concerning the jungle, which is at his very doors. How then shall I believe the tales of ghosts and gods and goblins which he says he's seen? It is full time that boy went in to herding, said the head man, while Buldeo puffed and snorted at Mowgli's impertinence. Cold tea. The custom of most Indian villages is for a few boys to take the cattle and buffaloes out to graze in the early morning, and bring them back at night. And the very cattle that would trample a white man to death allows themselves to be banged and bullied and shouted at by children that hardly come up to their noses. So long as the boys keep with the herds, they are safe, for not even the tiger will charge a mob of cattle. But if they struggle to pick flowers or hunt lizards, they are sometimes carried off. Mowgli went through the village street at dawn, sitting on the back of Rama, the great herd bull, and the blue buffaloes, with their long, backward sweeping horns and savage eyes, rose out of their byres one by one and followed him. And Mowgli made it very clear to the children with him that he was the master. He beat the buffaloes with a long, polished bamboo, and told Kamya, one of the boys, to graze the cattle by themselves, while he went on with the buffaloes, and to be very careful not to stray away from the herd. Mowgli is so fed up. Yes, I mean, considering that was he was born and raised in the jungle, I think he would know a thing or two about the jungle rather than this guy who says that Shere Khan is a ghost tiger from a moneylender who's lame because of an incident, a nameless incident. I think Mowgli would know what he was talking about. But yeah, so an Indian grazing ground is all rocks and scrub and tussocks and little ravines among which the herds scatter and disappear. The buffaloes generally keep to the pools and muddy places, where they lie wallowing or basking in the warm mud for hours. Mowgli drove them onto the edge of the jungle. Then he dropped from Rama's neck, trotted off to a bamboo clump, and found Grey Brother. Ah, said Grey Brother, I have waited here very many days. What is the meaning of this cattle herding work? It is an order, said Mowgli. I am a village herd for a while. What news of Shere Khan? He has come back to this country and has waited here a long time for you. Now he has gone off again, for the game is scarce. But he means to kill you. Very good, said Mowgli. So long as he is away, will you or one of the four brothers sit on that rock, so that I can see you as I come out of the village? When he comes back, wait for me in the ravine by the dak tree, in the center of the plain. We need not walk into Shere Khan's mouth. Then Mowgli picked out a shady place and lay down and slept while the buffaloes grazed round him. Herding in India is one of the laziest things in the world. The cattle move and crunch and lie down and move on again, and they do not even low. They only grunt, and the buffaloes very seldom say anything, but they get down into the muddy pools one after the other and work their way into the mud until only their noses and staring china blue eyes show above the surface, and there they lie like logs. The sun makes the rocks dance in the heat, and the herd children hear one kite, never any more, whistling almost out of sight overhead, and they know that if they died, or a cow died, the kite would sweep down, and the next kite miles away would see him drop and follow, and the next, and almost before they were dead, there would be a score of jungle kites come out of nowhere. Which, here's the illustrations. We see Mowgli on the back of Rama, the head bull in the herd. And we see Mowgli with Buldeo. Again, the illustrations are gorgeous. But yeah, for those who don't know, a kite is a type of carrion bird. It goes after dead things, so it's like a vulture. And I think it may be a relative. I'm not sure though. Shere Khan is watching, waiting, and listening. Exactly. But I promise you this. There's going to be the climax is legendary. So, we'll see who kills who. After all, Shere Khan means to kill Mowgli. But we'll see. Then they sleep and wake and sleep again, and weave little baskets of dried grass and put grasshoppers in them, or catch two praying mantises and make them fight, or string a necklace of red and black jungle nuts, or watch a lizard basking on a rock, or a snake hunting a frog near the wallows. Then they sing long, long songs with odd native quavers at the end of them, and the day seems longer than most people's whole lives. And perhaps they make a mud castle with mud figures of men and horses and buffaloes, and put reeds into the men's hands, and pretend that they are kings, and the figures are their armies, or that they are gods to be worshipped. Then evening comes, and the children call, and the buffaloes lumber up out of the sticky mud with noises like gunshots going off one after the other, and they all string across the gray plain back into the twinkling village lights. Day after day, Mowgli would lead the buffaloes out to their wallows, and day after day he would see Gray Brother's back a mile and a half away across the plains, so he knew that Shere Khan had not come back. And day after day he would lie on the grass, listening to the noises round him, and dreaming of old days in the jungle. If Shere Khan had made a false step with his lame paw up in the jungles by the Waingunga, Mowgli would have heard him in those days, still mornings. At last, a day came when he did not see Gray Brother at the signal place, and he laughed and headed the buffaloes for the ravine by the dak tree, which was all covered with golden red flowers. There sat Gray Brother, every bristle on his back lifted. He is hidden for a month to throw you off guard. He crossed the ranges last night with Tabaki, hotfoot on your trail, said the wolf, panting. Mowgli frowned. I am not afraid of Shere Khan, but Tabaki is very cunning. Have no fear, said Gray Brother, licking his lips a little. I met Tabaki in the dawn. Now he is telling all his wisdom to the kites, but he told me everything before I broke his back. Shere Khan's plan is to wait for you at the village gate this evening, for you and for no one else. He is lying up now in the dry ravine of the Waingunga. Has he eaten today, or does he hunt empty? Said Mowgli, for the answer meant life or death to him. He killed at dawn a pig, and he is drunk too. Remember, Shere Khan could never fast, even for the sake of revenge. Oh, fool, fool! What a cub's cub it is, eaten and drunk too. And he thinks that I'll wait till he has slept. Now, where does he lie up? If there were but 10 of us, we might pull him down as he lies. These buffaloes will not charge unless they wind him, and I cannot speak their language. Can we get back his tracks so that they may smell it? He swam far down the Waingunga to cut that off, said Gray Brother. Tabaki, the cunning jackal. Well, he was the cunning jackal, but he's cunning no more. After all, as Gray Brother said, he's telling his wisdom to the kites. But he told Gray Brother everything before Gray Brother broke his back. So Tabaki is officially dead. So now he's the cunning jackal no more. Tabaki told him that, I know. He would never have thought of it alone. Mowgli stood with his finger in his mouth, thinking. The big ravine of the Waingunga. That opens out on the plain not half a mile from here. I can take the herd round through the jungle to the head of the ravine and then sweep down. But he would slink out at the foot. We must block that end. Gray Brother, can you cut the herd in two for me? Not I, perhaps, but I have brought a wise helper. Ooh, yes. Yes, under the Gibson, Tabaki the jackal is no more. The kites are eating well today. Because Grey Wolf broke Tabaki's back. Now he lies dead. Gray Brother trotted off and dropped into a hole. Then there lifted up a huge gray head that Mowgli knew well, and the hot air was filled with the most desolate cry of all the jungle, the hunting howl of a wolf at midday. Akela! Akela! Said Mowgli, clapping his hands. I might have known that you would not forget me. We have a job to do. Cut the herd in two, Akela. Keep the cows and calves together, and the bulls and the plow buffaloes by themselves. The two wolves ran ladies' chain fashion in and out of the herd, which snorted and threw up its head, and separated into two cloughs. In one the cow buffaloes stood, with their calves in the center, and glared and pawed, ready, if a wolf would only stay still, to charge down and trample the life out of him. In the other, the bulls and the young bulls snorted and stamped. But, though they looked more imposing, they were much less dangerous, for they had no calves to protect. No 6 men could have divided the herd so neatly. What orders? Panted Akela. They are trying to join again. Mowgli slipped onto Rama's back. Drive the bulls away to the left, Akela. Gray Brother, when we are gone, hold the cows together and drive them into the foot of the ravine. How far? Said Gray Brother, panting and snapping. Till the sides are higher than Shere Khan can jump, shouted Mowgli. Keep them there till we come down. The bulls swept off as Akela bade, and Gray Brother stopped in front of the cows. They charged down on him, and he ran just before them at the foot of the ravine, as Akela drove the bulls far to the left. Well done! Another charge, and they are fairly started. And here we see Mowgli and Rama getting ready. And we see Mowgli and Gray Brother and the pretty red flowers. And then we see the stampede. I like the fact that they dedicated a whole page to portray this massive stampede. Like, seriously, Disney, if you wanted to be creative, do Mowgli's trilogy and give us this scene. Be creative again, Disney. I don't know. I'm sorry. But yeah. Again, I love these illustrations. Careful now. Careful, Akela. A snap too much and the bulls will charge. Hiya! This is wilder work than driving Black Buck. Did you think these creatures could move so swiftly? Mowgli called. I have hunted these two in my time, gasped Akela in the dust. Shall I turn them into the jungle? Aye, turn. Swiftly turn them. Rama is mad with rage. Oh, if I could only tell him what I need of him today. Stampede. Exactly, Andre. That is an epic stampede illustration. On par with the Lion King. Yes, I said it. The bulls were turned to the right this time and crashed into the standing thicket. The other herd children, watching with the cattle half a mile away, hurried to the village as fast as their legs could carry them, crying that the buffaloes had gone mad and run away. But Mowgli's plan was simple enough. All he wanted to do was to make a big circle uphill and get at the head of the ravine, and then take the bulls down it and catch Shere Khan between the bulls and the cows, for he knew that after a meal and a full drink, Shere Khan would not be in any condition to fight or to clamber up the sides of a ravine. He was soothing the buffaloes now by voice, and Akela had dropped to the far rear, only whimpering once or twice to hurry the rear guard. It was a long, long circle, for they did not wish to get too near to the ravine and give Shere Khan warning. At last, Mowgli rounded up the bewildered herd at the head of the ravine on a grassy path that sloped down to the trees down to the plain below. But what Mowgli looked at was the sides of the ravine, and he saw with a great deal of satisfaction that they ran nearly straight up and down, while the vines and creepers that hung over them would give no foothold to a tiger who wanted to get out. Let them breathe, Akela, he said, holding up his hand. They have not winded him yet. Let them breathe. I must tell Shere Khan who comes. We have him in the trap. He put his hands to his mouth and shouted down the ravine. It was almost like shouting down a tunnel, and the echoes jumped from rock to rock. After a long time there came back the drawling, sleepy snarl of a full-fed tiger just awakened. "Who calls?" said Shere Khan, and a splendid peacock fluttered up out of the ravine screeching. "I, Mowgli, cattle thief. It is time to come to the council rock. Down! Hurry them down, Akela! Down, Rama! Down!" The herd paused for an instant at the edge of the slope, but Akela gave tongue in the full hunting yell, and they pitched over one after the other, just as streamers shoot rapids, the sand and stones spurting up round them. Once startled, there was no chance of stopping. But before they were fairly in the bed of the ravine, Rama caught the smell of Shere Khan and bellowed. "Ha ha!" said Mowgli on his back. "Now you know!" And the torrent of black horns, foaming muzzles, and staring eyes whirled down the ravine like boulders in flood time. The weaker buffaloes being shouldered out onto the sides of the ravine, where they tore through the creepers. They knew what the business was before them. The terrible charge of the buffalo herd against which no tiger can hope to stand. The plan is humming, working. Yep. It looks like it's going off without a hitch. Take down the bad kitty! Yes, the more proper term would be to take down the frog killer, the fish eater, as is a reference to Mowgli's brothers, which Mowgli's mom calls Shere Khan. Okay. Hope to stand. Shere Khan heard the thunder of their hoofs, picked himself up, and lumbered down the ravine, looking from side to side for some way of escape. But the walls of the ravine were straight, and he had to keep on, heavy with his dinner and his drink, willing to do anything rather than fight. The herd splashed through the pool he had just left, bellowing till the narrow ravine rang. Mowgli heard an answering bellow from the foot of the ravine, where Shere Khan turned. The tiger knew if the worst came to worst, it was better to meet the bulls than the cows with their calves. And then Rama tripped, stumbled, and went on again over something soft, and with the bulls at his heels, crashed full into the other herd, while the weaker buffaloes were lifted clean off their feet by the shock of the meeting. That charge carried both herds out into the plain, goring and stamping and snorting. Mowgli watched his time and slipped off Rama's neck, laying him about him right and left with his stick. "Quick, Akela! Break them up! Scatter them, or they will be fighting one another! Drive them away, Akela! Hi, Rama! Hi! Hi! Hi, my children! Softly now, softly! It is over!" Akela and Grey Brother ran to and fro, nipping the buffalo's legs, and though the herd wheeled once to charge up the ravine again, Mowgli managed to turn Rama, and the others followed him to the wallows. Shere Khan needed no more trampling. He was dead, and the kites were coming for him already. Brothers, that was a dog's death," said Mowgli, feeling for the knife he always carried in a sheath round his neck, now that he lived with men. "But he would never have shown fight. His hide will look well on the council rock. We must get to work swiftly. A boy trained among men would never have dreamed of skinning a 10-foot tiger alone, but Mowgli knew better than anyone else how to skin an But Mowgli knew better than anyone else how an animal's skin is fitted on and how it can be taken off. Whoa. Yep. Shere Khan is dead. He died a dog's death. And here we see Mowgli on Rama's back as the herd stampede, and here we see Shere Khan and a peacock. Victory screech! Yes, I can't do a victory screech because my mom is napping in her bedroom, so I gotta be kind of a little quiet. But at the same time, I gotta make sure you guys hear me on the live stream, so. And now Mowgli is going to skin Shere Khan. But it was hard work, and Mowgli slashed and tore and grunted for an hour, while the wolves lolled out their tongues or came forward and tugged as he ordered them. Presently, a hand fell on his shoulder, and looking up he saw Buldeo with the tower musket. The children had told the village about the buffalo stampede, and Buldeo went out angrily, only too anxious to correct Mowgli for not taking better care of the herd. The wolves dropped out of sight as soon as they saw the man coming. "What is this folly?" said Buldeo angrily. "To think that you can skin a tiger! Where did the buffaloes kill him? It is a lame tiger, too, and there is 100 rupees on his head. Well, well, we will overlook you letting the herd run off, and perhaps I will give you one of the rupees of the reward when I have taken the skin to Kanhiwara." He fumbled in his waistcloth for flint and steel, and stooped down to singe Shere Khan's whiskers. Most native hunters singe a tiger's whiskers to prevent his ghost haunting them. "Hum," said Mowgli, half to himself as he ripped back the skin of a forepaw. "So you will take the hide to Kanhiwara for the reward, and perhaps give me 1 rupee? Now, as far as I'm concerned, I need the skin for my own use. Ha! Old man, take away that fire." "Oh yeah, make a nice rug out of him." Oh, jeez, Andre, you're one of the good ones. I swear, the humor. Not really a rug, more like an example. I think. I'm not sure. Either way, Shere Khan's being skinned. So regardless if he is a rug or an example, Shere Khan is getting skinned. So there you go. "How can you talk this way to the chief hunter of the village? Your luck and the stupidity of your buffaloes have helped you to this kill. The tiger is just fed, or he would have gone 20 miles by this time. You cannot even skin him properly, little beggar brat, and you tell me, Buldeo, not to singe his whiskers. Mowgli, I will not give you 1 anna of the reward, but only a very big beating. Leave the carcass." "By the bull that bought me," said Mowgli, who was trying to get at the shoulder, "must I stay babbling to an old ape all noon? Here, Akela, this man plagues me." Buldeo, who was still swooping over Shere Khan's head, found himself sprawling on the grass, with the grey wolf standing over him, while Mowgli went on skinning as though he were alone in all India. "Yes," he said between his teeth. "You are absolutely right, Buldeo. You will never give me 1 anna of the reward. There is an old war between this lame tiger and myself. A very old war. And I have won." To do Buldeo justice, if he had been 10 years younger, he would have taken his chance with Akela had he met the wolf in the woods. But a wolf who obeyed the orders of this boy, who had private wars with man-eating tigers, was not a common animal. It was sorcery, magic of the worst kind, thought Buldeo, and he wondered whether the amulet round his neck would protect him. He lay still as still, expecting every minute to see Mowgli turn into a tiger too. "Maharaj, great king," he said at last, in a husky whisper. "Yes," said Mowgli, without turning his head, chuckling a little. "I am an old man. I did not know that you were anything more than a herd boy. May I rise up and go away, or will your servant tear me to pieces?" "Go in peace with you. Only another time, do not meddle with my game. Let him go, Akela." Buldeo hobbled away to the village as fast as he could, looking back over his shoulder in case Mowgli should change into something terrible. When he got to the village, he told a tale of magic and enchantment and sorcery that made the priest look very grave. Mowgli went on with his work, but it was nearly twilight before he and the wolves had drawn the great bright skin clear of the body. "Now we must hide this and take the buffaloes home. Help me to herd them, Akela." The herd rounded up in the misty twilight, and when they got near the village, Mowgli saw lights, and he heard the conches and bells blowing and banging. Half the village seemed to be waiting for him by the gate. "This is because I have killed Shere Khan," he said to himself, but a shower of stones whistled through his ears, and the villagers shouted, "Sorcerer! Wolf brat! Jungle demon! Go away! Get away from here, quickly, or the priest will turn you into a wolf again! Shoot, Buldeo, shoot!" The old tower musket went off with a bang, and a young buffalo bellowed in pain. More sorcery, shouted the villagers. He can turn bullets! Buldeo, that was your buffalo! What is the matter? Said Mowgli, bewildered, as the stones flew thicker. They are not unlike the pack, these brothers of yours, said Akela, sitting down composedly. It is in my head that, if bullets mean anything, they would cast you out. Wolf! Wolf's come! Go away! Shouted the priest, waving a sprig of the sacred tulsi plant. Again? Last time it was because I was a man. This time it is because I am a wolf. Let us go, Akela. Oh no. Yep. Here we see Akela standing over Buldeo. Quite intimidating, I might add. And here we see Mowgli trying to skin Shere Khan. But yes. A woman, it was Mesua, ran across to the herd and cried, Oh, my son, my son! They say you are a sorcerer who can turn himself into a beast at will. I do not believe, but go away, or they will kill you. Buldeo says you are a wizard, but I know you have avenged Nathu's death. Come back, Mesua, shouted the crowd. Come back, or we will stone you too. Mowgli laughed. A little, short, ugly laugh, for a stone had hit him in the mouth. Run back, Mesua. This is one of the foolish tales they tell under the big tree at dusk. I have at least paid for your son's life. Farewell, and run quickly, for I shall send the herd in more swiftly than their brickbats. I am no wizard, Mesua. Farewell. Now once more, Akela, he cried, bring the herd in. The buffaloes were anxious enough to get to the village. They hardly needed Akela's yell, but charged through the gate like a whirlwind, scattering the crowd right and left. Keep count, shouted Mowgli scornfully. Maybe I have stolen one of them. Keep count, for I will do your herding no more. Fare you well, children of men, and thank Mesua that I do not come in with my wolves and hunt you up and down your street. He turned on his heel and walked away with the lone wolf, and as he looked up at the stars, he felt happy. No more sleeping in traps for me, Akela. Let us get Shere Khan's skin and go away. No, we will not hurt the village, for Mesua was kind to me. When the moon rose over the plain, making it look all milky, the horrified villagers saw Mowgli, with 2 wolves at his heels and a bundle on his head, trotting across at the steady wolf's trot that eats up the long miles like fire. Then they banged the temple bells and blew the conchs louder than ever, and Mesua cried, and Buldeo embroidered the story of his adventures in the jungle, till he ended by saying that Akela stood up on his hind legs and talked like a man. Oh, hi, Wolfer. You're just in time. I'm almost done finishing with the story of Tiger Tiger, which is the final story in Mowgli's trilogy. But I'm glad you're here. Feel free to make some comments if you want. The story is almost over, followed by a little bit of a bonus. The moon was just going down when Mowgli and the 2 wolves came to the hill of the Council Rock, and they stopped at Mother Wolf's cave. They have cast me out of the man pack, Mother, shouted Mowgli, but I have come with the hide of Shere Khan to keep my word. Mother Wolf walked stiffly from the cave, with the cubs behind her, and her eyes glowed as she saw the skin. I told him on that day, when he crammed his head and shoulders into this cave, hunting for you, little frog, I told him that the hunter would be the hunted. It is well done. Little brother, it is well done, said a deep voice in the thicket. We were lonely in the jungle without you. And Bagheera came running to Mowgli's bare feet. They clambered up the council rock together, and Mowgli spread the skin out on the flat stone where Akela used to sit, and pegged it down with 4 slivers of bamboo. And Akela lay down upon it, and called the old call to the council. Look well, O wolves, exactly as he had called when Mowgli was first brought here. Ever since Akela had been disposed, the pack had been without a leader, hunting and fighting at their own pleasure. But they answered the call from habit, and some of them were lame from the traps they had fallen into, and some limped from shot wounds, and some were mangy from eating bad food, and many were missing. But they came to the council rock, and all that were left of them, and saw Shere Khan's striped hide on the rock, and the huge claws dangling at the end of empty, dangling feet. It was then that Mowgli made up a song without any rhymes, a song that came up into his throat all by itself, and he shouted it aloud, leaping up and down on the rattling skin, and beating time with his heels till he had no more breath left, while Grey Brother and Akela howled between the verses. "Look well, O wolves! Have I kept my word?" said Mowgli when he had finished, and the wolves bayed "Yes," and one tattered wolf howled. "Lead us again, O Akela! Lead us again, O Man Cub, for we are sick of this lawlessness, and we want to be the free people once more." "I'm sorry, I was sleepy, and when I woke up and checked my phone, I noticed that you were on and I tuned in." "That's fine, Wolfer, I understand. I'm glad you're here for the remaining part of it." And I'm glad to be reading it aloud. I don't know, I like acting out the theatrics of an epic story like this. It makes me happy. Nay, purred Bagheera, that may not be. When you are well fed, the madness may come upon you again. Not for nothing are you called the free people. You fought for freedom, and it is yours. Eat it, O wolves. Man Pack and Wolf Pack have cast me out, said Mowgli. Now I will hunt alone in the jungle. And we will hunt with you, said the 4 cubs. So Mowgli went away and hunted with the 4 cubs in the jungle from that day on. But he was not always alone, because years afterwards he became a man and married. But that is a story for grown-ups. You would make a phenomenal dungeon master. Well, thank you. But yes, that marks the end of Tiger and Mowgli's trilogy. However, there is a bonus section to the story after it ends with saying that Mowgli became a man and married. But that story is for grown-ups. It includes Mowgli's song, the one that he sang without rhythm as he danced upon Shere Khan's hide. And because there's no melody to this, and I've never heard anyone make a song of this, I will read it as an epic poem. So I apologize in advance if this is cringe, but I'm doing my best here. Mowgli's song that he sang at the council rock when he danced on Shere Khan's hide. Oh, whoops. And I realized I almost forgot to show you the illustrations. Here we see Mowgli returning to the Seoni wolves, and here we see Mowgli with Masua, who is the only kind person to him in the village. Anywho, now Mowgli's song, I apologize. Mowgli's song that he sang at the council rock when he danced on Shere Khan's hide. The song of Mowgli, I, Mowgli, am singing. Let the jungle listen to the things I've done. Shere Khan said that he would kill. At the gates in the twilight, he would kill Mowgli the frog. He ate and he drank. Drink deep, Shere Khan, for when wilt thou drink again? Sleep and dream of the kill. I am alone on the grazing grounds. Grey Brother, come to me. Come to me, lone wolf, for there is big game afoot. Bring up the great bull buffaloes and the blue-skinned herd bulls with angry eyes. Drive them to and fro as I order. Sleepest thou still, Shere Khan? Wake, oh wake! Here come I, and the bulls are behind. Rama, the king of the buffaloes, stamped with his foot. Waters of the Wangunga, whither where, Shere Khan? If he is not to Ikey to dig coals, nor Mao the peacock that he should fly. He is not Mang the bat to hang in the branches, little bamboos that creak together. Tell me where he ran. Ow! He is here. Ow! He is here. Under the feet of Rama lies the lame one. Up, Shere Khan, up and kill. Here is meat. Break the neck of the bulls. Hush! He is asleep. We will not wake him, for his strength is very great. The kites have come down to see it. The black ants have come up to know it. There is a great assembly in his honor. Allah, I have no cloth to wrap me. These kites will see that I am naked. I am ashamed to meet all these people. Lend me thy coat, Shere Khan. Lend me thy gay striped coat, that I might go to the council rock. By the bull that bought me, I have made a promise. A little promise. Only thy coat is lacking before I keep my word. with the knife that men use. With the knife of the hunter, the man, I will stoop down for my gift. Waters of the Waingunga, bear witness that Shere Khan gives me his coat for the love that he bears me. Pull, great brother, pull, Akela. Heavy is the hide of Shere Khan. The Man Pack are angry. They throw stones and talk child's talk. My mouth is bleeding. Let us run away. Through the hot night, run swiftly with me, my brothers. We will leave the lights of the village and go to the low moon. Waters of the Waingunga, the Man Pack have cast me out. I did them no harm, but they are afraid of me. Why? Wolf Pack, ye have cast me out too. The jungle is shut me, and the village gates are shut. Why? As Mang flies between the beasts and the birds, so I fly between the village and the jungle. Why? I dance on the hide of Shere Khan, but my heart is heavy. My mouth is cut and wounded with the stones from the village, but my heart is very light, because I have come back to the jungle. Why? These two things fight together in me as the snakes fight in the spring. Water comes out of my eyes, yet I laugh as it falls. Why? I am two Mowglis, but the hide of Shere Khan is under my feet. All the jungle knows that I have killed Shere Khan. Look well, O wolves. My heart is heavy with things I do not understand. And that is the end of Mowgli's song. I apologize. I apologize for that. I did my best, though. But it certainly portrays the emotions he certainly feels. Neither one or the other. He's not a wolf nor a human man. He's in between. There are many of both, but he is alone, and unlike anyone. And the irony of that statement is that it is from another story that I plan on reading for episode 12. But that story is going to be a secret. For now, at least. So, that is it. That is the trilogy. He learned to validate himself rather than to seek it from others. Exactly. But at the same time, he was alone. And humans are not meant to be alone. We're social creatures. But anyway. And right, before I forget, here are the illustrations to Mowgli's song with the wolf pack. And we see Mowgli dancing on Shere Khan's skin. But yes, that is the end of it. That is the end of Mowgli's trilogy, which is one half of the Jungle Book. This copy that I have, at least. If there are more stories of the that Rudyard Kipling wrote of the Jungle Book that I don't know about, feel free to let me know in the comments, and I might give them a read. You know me, I love to read. That was a great story. Well, thank you, Andre. Sorry, I got really carried away when reading the Mowgli song, like an epic poem. Kind of got carried away. But yes, it was. But yeah, that is the end of Mowgli's trilogy and half of the Jungle Book, at least in this copy. Again, if there are more stories that Rudyard Kipling wrote in keeping with Jungle Book that I don't know about, feel free to let me know, and I'll give them a read when I get the chance. But as such, in the book that I have, there are only 3 stories left: The White Seal, Rikki Tikki Tavi, and Tumai of the Elephants. So maybe down the line we'll read those. These usually go for hours, and we're almost done now or so. Any questions? Do you guys want to talk just a little bit? Of course. There we go. Sure. So, yeah, feel free to ask me questions. And what did you guys think of the story? For those of you who tuned in. Okay, it's not making that garbling sound. My speakers sometimes see that. But what was your favorite part? We've gone through the entirety of Mowgli's trilogy, which completes the story. And I like how, for me at least, I like how it ends with saying that eventually he grew up and he got married. But that it's a story for grown-ups. Or how do they word it? Let me just go back. Yeah, they say that it's a story for grown-ups. grown-ups the story of how Mowgli got married and such. I want to know how that went. It was probably romantic, but also, a little wild, because he's from the jungle, and that's always going to be with him. I thought it was graphic and exciting. Well, thank you. I did my best to try and portray it. Perhaps he was writing it for his children? That may be the case. Rudyard Kipling might have wrote it for his own children, but yeah, say what you will about illustrations, but Eric Kincaid, the fellow who illustrated these pictures, is an absolute genius and a talented artist. But I mean, that does leave some room for interpretations, like whatever happened after Mowgli got married. What was that like? To see him grow up and become a man and marry, but still have the jungle, because he says in here that he won't forget that he is a wolf, and that men will not make him forget. So I don't know, that has potential to be a good story, like what happened afterwards. And I don't know. I am a creative figure, and so like I can easily come up with something and ideas. But here's the thing, Disney. This could have with the Disney live action remakes. I've explained my piece on them, but here's my thing. It would probably be a great movie if done right. Exactly. It just requires creativity and also people who actually care about making something good without any, messages. I wonder whom he took for a wife. So do I. Wouldn't it be ironic, though, if he met a woman who was similar to him and who was raised in the jungle, except she was raised by a pack of, like a leopard or something. I don't know. It's not just me being an absolute cat lover, but I mean, it would be cool if he did meet a woman who was like him and who was wild in a sense. But we don't know. It doesn't, that the book doesn't give us to him, but maybe Rudyard Kipling wrote something. I don't know. But here's the thing, Disney, if you wanted to do the Jungle Book justice, stick to the source material! Like, for crying out loud, the stampede scene, and Mowgli literally skinning Shere Khan. Just, honestly, Disney would mess up these days. Yeah, there's a reason why I'm collecting all the animated Disney films, because I want to show my future children the good stuff. But yeah, if someone made this into a movie and stuck to the original story, all the way down to Tiger, it would be so interesting. And the more I think about it, I like how in the beginning, good idea. Yeah, but one thing I realize is that the poem before kind of foreshadows the story. And it could be said, it could have been used in the film. Like if anyone wanted to make a good Jungle Book film, tied heavily sticking to the source material. But the poem, Disney's been lazy nowadays. Yeah, I mean, I liked Encanto. Encanto was good, but yeah, the poem earlier goes like this. What of the hunting, hunter bold? Brother, the watch was long and cold. What of the quarry ye went to kill? Brother, he crops in the jungle still. Where is the power that made your pride? Brother, it ebbs from my flank and side. Where's the haste that ye hurry by? Brother, I go to my lair to die. And that poem, it's got some oomph to it because it's foreshadowing the story. And that could totally be used if they wanted to make a film out of this, which, truthfully and honestly, if I were going to make a film based off of the Jungle Book, sticking very close to the source material and all the bloody, graphic, theatric elements, I'd want to make it 2D. Because 2D, there's nothing wrong with computer generated or live action, but there's Perhaps it would be done better by Studio Ghibli. If it's done in 2D, yes. The closest thing we got to a Jungle Book that, as an anime, I am all for that idea. Heck, I might even draw some random illustrations of Mowgli, maybe. I don't know. I literally don't. But, I mean, maybe. But, yeah, the closest thing we have to a film adaptation of the Jungle Book that sticks fairly close to the original source material is The Adventures of Mowgli, which is an old Russian animated film that actually does really good, and it actually shows us Mowgli's brothers, and it shows us Kaa's hunting, where we see the Banderlogs get eaten, and we actually get to see the dance of Kaa, the hungry dance of Kaa, that sly python. Let's see. Let's see. But yes. It kind of reminds me of Princess Mononoke. Maybe. I've never seen that one, but I kind of want to. Sir, Ka ASMR soon? Oh, what? Small sack, do you want to hear me speak in a sultry voice like the voice I used for Ka? And with good reason, I'm sure. So is that what you want? Do you just want to hear me speak like Ka? Is that it? You can be honest. I won't judge you. Oh boy, that's gonna be on YouTube forever. But yes. Absolutely, you sound amazing doing it. Well, I'm flattered. The Wolfer made the quote from the old animated Jungle Book that makes me just absolutely happy. But just because Ka's benevolent does not mean he's all good. I mean, he totally devoured the Banderlogs, and he doesn't take well to being insulted. Fuck. Shoot the speakers. Give me a sec, Wolfer, and I'll say your quote. There we go. There we go. Crises averted. There we go. That too is a benevolent action. Yes, but not for the Banderlog. But Ka finding the listener in the jungle. Oh, you don't have to be afraid. I won't hurt you. Just trust in me. Just in me. There now. Let me look at you. So I'm giving you guys some free Ka ASMR. I don't know why people thirst over Ka, though. Like, benevolent, wise figure he may be, he's still dangerous. He is a massive python that is older than the jungle, so yeah. Benevolent he may be, still dangerous. Still a massive friggin' python. Smiling. Oh, what, Wolfer? Do you just enjoy me speaking in a voice like this? The voice I give. Ka. That's not what music is playing. But yeah, as for the answer to getting a Ka ASMR, Ka is a massive python, so most likely I would be doing a Lamia woman. a massive freaking Lamia woman for that. Might do I'll do a Lamia woman for sure for that, but I will use this voice and maybe I'll name drop Ka. Yes. Oh jeez, is hypnotized. Oh my gosh, Wolfer, stop it. But yeah, I'll definitely use like a kind of a larger Lamia. That sounds like a good idea, but perhaps I'll name drop Ka. Oh, Ka? Yes, I'm familiar. You could say he's a friend of the family. He and my mother were actually lovers at one point. I don't know. Not a bad idea, though. Yeah, geez. His lines sound nice being spoken by you, like it was meant to be. Yes, but in this case, female, which, again, giving the live action Jungle Book, like the live action remake, some credit, they tried sticking to the original, having thematic elements, but I don't know. Like, I don't know. E for effort, but yeah, and also in the live action remake, they made Ka a woman, which is interesting. I mean, depending on who's doing the voice acting, both a male Ka or a female Ka can work. It just depends. Ka would headbutt me to the moon and it would be so worth it. Oh, but what if a female Lamia was headbutting you to the moon? Though, if it's a full moon, you wouldn't be getting headbutted. Well, not much, anyway. You'd be sent to the moon by other means. Free ASMR, part of this live stream. Free Ka ASMR for everyone. But yeah, eventually I will do a Lamia. Actually, it's September. You know what? I'm getting ideas. Nosebleeds. You've got a real nice voice for female Ka or a Lamia. Well, I do my best, and it's mostly just trying to sound seductive. And, very soothing. Like kind of like Lord Cobb from Tale of Earthsea. William Dafoe does an excellent job with that character. Just that voice, just like he could convince you to drink a glass of poison, and you'd just be like, okay. Geez, that sort of sweet, looks well-meaning, but could totally be sinister, like lulling you into a false sense of security. So it's a matter of, yes, your Lamias are the best. Oh my goodness. But yeah, it's mostly just sounding seductive and like changing the pitch. I did some acting in high school, and I tried doing a little bit of community theater. That didn't pan out so well because complications, but I am learning how to do voice acting a bit better, and so I can change my pitch. I can sound sweet and tenderly good-natured, but if I drop the tone a little lower, then I sound seductive. But I can still be seductive with a higher-up voice, just in a more sweet aspect, like the voice of a maiden who seems sweet but means to kill you once you're lulled into her embrace, like a black widow arachnia. After all, they're naturally vicious and cruel, eating their mate and all. So yeah, I am working on voice acting, but geez. So soon. I got one ASMR in the pipeline, but you know what? I like the emphasis you place on your S. Well, if I'm doing a Lamia voice, then it's only natural to emphasize the S's, because Lamias are snakes. But yeah, so then I gotta start I have to. Actually, yeah, you know what? In September, Oh. Agrabah would have an empire if they just asked their neighbors for their crowns. Crowns? What do you mean? But also, Wolfer, I have an idea now. Let's see. Last song and then I'll hang it up soon, but Snake Timber? No, not Snake Timber. But I can correct my error that I made when making a certain happy birthday song. I know what I'm going to do for October. Actually, if I made it in advance, I could totally just set it for premiere. But I've said too much already. So, Wolfer, I'm just going to say be prepared. Because something is going to happen. Yeah, so Snake Temper won't be a thing, but there will certainly be characters, and there's definitely going to be some spooky stuff going on in October. I got one story that I know for a fact that I am definitely going to live stream. And well, I got some stories for September that I'm going to live stream, and yeah, it's going to be fun. And I hope you guys can come for the live streams, because I enjoy reading to people. I enjoy telling stories, and I just enjoy that I'm glad I'm able to do something that makes you guys happy. Even when it's teasing you with a seductive Lamia voice. Oh, what a troublesome little thing you are. Holy heck, I just thought of something. Yandere Lamia with car tendencies. Oh no, what have I thought of? Sounds devious. I'm excited. Well, I hope so, because I got a lot of schemes and plans. But I will also be taking a vacation pretty soon. Because that what small snack? I'm confused. Wolfer? Where's Blues? Do you need some tissues, Wolfer? But yeah, September I'm going to be taking a vacation because throughout summer I did not get to go to the coast, and I am a Pisces, and I am very, very, very depleted on my vitamin C. You get it? It's a pun, and I'm not going to apologize for it. That just sounds amazing. Oh, what? What sounds amazing? The idea of a seductive sounding Lamia woman with the tendencies of Kaa from the Jungle Book. Is that what you're thinking of? Small snack, sweetheart. Oh, hey, have fun on your vacation. Oh, I will. It's going to be 3 days off the coast. I desperately need them. Ocean Shores is pretty. Yep, got a vacation home and everything. It's going to be fun, but yeah. So I guess I better start working on a present. Nice. But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. I've done the most damage that I can on this live stream. So yeah, I will post an update on the story that I'm gonna live stream next, and well, it's gonna be a little bit of a treasure hunt. And if anyone takes up the challenge and succeeds, there will be a reward. I will draw a picture of your choice or do an ASMR of your choice within reason. I can do spicy ASMR to an extent. I just gotta toe the line because YouTube is cruel and I don't want to get sniped. I like having this channel. This channel makes me happy. And I like telling people stories and making Monster Girl ASMR. So yeah, anyway, that's about the end of this live stream. It's gone on for an hour and 19 minutes, guys. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for 677 subscribers. I still don't know what I'm going to do for when I reach 700 subscribers, but that's going to be another milestone to celebrate. I'll probably post a poll and let you guys decide what we do when we hit 700 subscribers. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this live stream. Thank you. You're amazing. Well, thank you. You guys make it possible. You're welcome, and thank you for coming. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much for watching this live stream, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Oh my goodness. Ah.